Hello, I'm Chandler Klebs, and my friend George Ortega had another one of those epiphanies, as he calls it. He believes he has a new way of explaining that free will is impossible, with the explanation that the laws of nature control everything, and therefore humans control nothing. Um, and I think that this argument has some merit. So what I'm going to do is George told me to, basically wing it. But I think I have a pretty good grasp of this topic here. Basically, I think what's important first is I'll start out by defining free will and defining what a law of nature is. Now, you may disagree with my definitions, just like compatibilists will disagree with all incompatibilist definitions of free will. But here's the deal. Okay, for free will to be possible, a choice we would make would have to be completely up to us. It cannot have anything to do with prior causes that made us, that gave us the idea even to choose that thing. That's the important thing. And it certainly can't be random in the sense of being acausal or uncaused, because if it has no cause, we're not the cause. So, look, I've already talked in hundreds of podcasts about how either causality or acausality makes free will impossible. But George's argument about the laws of nature is perhaps a different way of explaining it. So let me get into what a law of nature is. Now, this may not be a formal definition because I'm not a scientist, I don't claim to be. But when I think of a law of nature, I think of a scientific law or a law about how the natural world works. Like there's just a way the universe works. Gravity pulls things toward the earth, and when water gets too cold, it turns into ice and it's solid. And water puts out fire. I think of certain ways, the laws of physics, the laws of chemistry, or even the way the brain works. Like there's a way the world works. And so you could say that science, for example, is about objective truth, discovering facts about how the universe works. And so here's one thing that I think is important to know, is that scientists don't create anything. They discover. They make discoveries. You could say Newton discovered gravity. You could say Darwin discovered natural selection as one of the things that drives evolution. And you could say that Freud or whoever before him discovered that humans have an unconscious part of them that makes decisions and stores memories that they're not aware of. So all scientists in all fields of scientists, they make discoveries. They don't decide, they discover. And this is important to understand because humans want to feel like they're authors of things. They want to feel like they're in control of things. But the problem with that is that it requires that you believe that there is no truth. Like, I'm talking about relativism, not necessarily moral relativism, but there's this idea of relativism where all opinions are equally valid. Like one person says the earth is flat, the other person says the earth is round, and somehow they're both right because everyone's entitled to their opinion. And no, because two people may disagree, but either one of them is right and the other's wrong, or they're both wrong. So the point is there is objective facts about the world, the way the world works. And I'm no expert in the laws of biology, the laws of chemistry, the laws of physics, but I know that these laws do determine behavior. They do determine our behavior as well as the behavior of all the tiny particles everywhere. So this is the important thing to understand, is the laws of nature control everything, and this makes free will impossible. But it may not be so easy for some people to understand. So I'm going to do my very best in this video to explain what I mean by this. Like we could call, let's say there's laws of thermodynamics, or more particularly, I think what I'm going to do in this video is start with the law of gravity, as it's called. It's called, some people call it the theory of gravity, some people call it the law of gravity. But we all know what gravity is, right? Yeah, okay, let me demonstrate gravity. Okay, so here's the deal. So I have a pony here. And if I let go of this pony, it falls to the ground. It falls toward the earth, which would be very mean if this was a real pony, but it's just a stuffed animal, so it's not hurt. But anyway, yeah, that's a demonstration of gravity. We all experience gravity, okay? Objects fall. And so, here's what's interesting, is that almost everything we do is based off of this premise. I mean, we expect gravity to stay the way it is. The thing about a law of nature is that humans can't really turn a law of nature on or off. Just like they can't really change the strength of gravity, just like the Earth spins at a certain speed, they can't just make the Earth speed up or slow down or completely stop spinning whenever they want it to. How would that even work? So the point is, humans are not in control of the universe, which is a little bit interesting because humans are part of the universe, but as George would probably say, they're not any part of the universe that makes decisions, and in fact, the idea of decisions, I say, is a complete illusion, whereas some people disagree with me on that. But basically, so people say, well, yeah, gravity determines a lot of things, but gravity doesn't control everything. Because humans have built helicopters and airplanes and stuff like that. And so they can overcome gravity. And I'm like, well, not really. Because, to overcome gravity, they'd have to just be able to switch the whole thing off and just float around, which, of course, they can kind of do if they go to outer space. But that's a whole nother topic altogether. But the point is, they were caused by gravity to build airplanes and helicopters. That's the whole deal, because if there was no gravity that kept pulling things toward the Earth, then there would be no reason for humans to invent flying machines that kind of fight gravity by propelling themselves in some way to fly overseas and stuff. So that's the whole point, is that humans not only have to work within the bounds of the laws of nature, such as gravity or what chemistry or whatever, but even what they do is based off of it. That's just it. And I think it's important to realize that, you don't necessarily have to use the laws of nature explanation for this. You can use causality and acausality, which is traditional. Like, traditionally, people have used causality or determinism to explain why free will is possible. And then people try to, claim quantum acausality and stuff like that, which I don't buy it. But, of course, acausality, like I already said, just means that it's up to nothing. It happens for no reason. And an acausal event, if it existed, well, that would mean acausality, true randomness, as some call it, where things happen for no reason, no cause at all. That would be a law of nature. That's what I want you to understand, is that if we live in a deterministic universe, that means that determinism is a law of nature. And if we live in a random universe where things happen for no reason, that means that indeterminism or true randomness happens sometimes, and that's a law of nature, which means that determinism is false, but it doesn't give humans a free will. So the point is, people disagree on whether the universe is causal or acausal. And as far as I'm concerned, it's causal. But that's not the main point. The main point is that, let's say the universe is deterministic, and you want there to be truly random events that happen for no reason. You can't make an uncaused event happen. You can't cause an uncaused event to happen. It's a contradiction in terms. It can't happen. You can't cause something to happen uncaused. And similarly, if uncaused events happen, you can't stop them from happening. You can't make the universe deterministic just because you want it to be, if in fact there was indeterminism in the universe where things happen for no reason. So the point is that humans are not in control. And I know that, compatibilists and a lot of people want to retain the word control and say that humans are in control of some things. But the point is, it's almost like you've got an infinite puppet regress. So let's say you have, like, rather than just a puppeteer controlling a puppet, you have that puppet is being controlled by another puppet, which is being controlled by some other puppets, which is being controlled by some other puppets in a sense, because everything is caused by something else, or you would have a random puppeteer that was caused if you try to throw in random events. But the point is that in any instance where you say you're in control of something, something else is controlling you to make you do that. So that's just it. I'm saying as a free will incompatibilist that basically there is none of us are a uncontrolled puppeteer. Nobody is a freely willing, freely choosing puppeteer. And this goes a little bit deeper. In future videos, I'll talk about the laws of nature and how they can't have a free will either. But yeah, I think that I'm starting this explanation. I hope this made some sense to you. And George and I will be back with more episodes in the future about why free will is impossible and how the laws of nature or the universe prohibit it. So I hope that you've enjoyed this and learned something, and you can let us know what you think in comments or whatever. So that's all for now. Goodbye.